Questo è un bambino che lavora in una miniera d'oro in Burkina Faso. Il Burkina Faso è una delle nazioni più povere del mondo. Per il Burkina Faso, che ha l'oro, la Francia stampa moneta coloniale. In cambio pretende che finiscano nelle casse del tesoro francese il 50% di tutto quello che il Burkina Faso esporta. L'oro che questo bambino si infila in un cunicolo per tirare fuori finisce per lo più nelle casse dello Stato francese. Allora la soluzione non è prendere gli africani e spostarli in Europa, la soluzione è liberare l'Africa da certi europei che la sfruttano e consentire a queste persone di vivere di quello che hanno.
Dear Benjamin, you are a food aid organization based in the United States and you have branches in Canada. You are good. Your intentions are clear. You help people who are hunger stricken, people suffering from malnutrition. You help them. You offer your food free of charge to these people. I mean, you are kind-hearted. We need more of you in this world. I tend to believe that your intentions are clear. I choose to believe, but I stand to be corrected, and here is why. Allow me present my case, Your Royal Highness. Now, guys, what is food aid? Food aid are commodities that are shipped from mainly the United States and other developed countries, and they are provided to people who are suffering from hunger, malnutrition, especially in developing countries and Africa, to be specific, because we are the first of everything when it comes to hunger. The focus is always on Africa for some reason, but I'll get to that later in the video. So Sarah, you may ask, how did the whole food aid situation begin? Well, food aid began by the United States in the 1950s, where it was looking for a way to get rid of its surplus agriculture products. And they decided, you know what, we can actually give it away to people in need, people suffering from poverty, malnutrition. We can give them all these goods and they'll be able to help them. So that is how food aid came to be. I can't call it a business because it's charitable work. However, guys, you need to know that the USA has always been under fire under the World Trade Organization Summit, where exporting agriculture countries have always accused America of using food aid as an excuse to dump excess agriculture products in their countries, which overall kills the entire economy of that country. But the United States has always said, guys, you are lying. That cannot be the truth. I swear, all we intend to do is to create help to be able to feed these poor people. That is our intention, the sole purpose as to why we do these things. Well, the likes of Benjamin get funding, agriculture funds, which are authorized by Food for Peace Act. They also get them from international disaster assistance funds. So here's the real catch. Upon Benjamin receiving funds from the International Disaster Assistance Funds and Food for Peace Act, how then does Benjamin get the goods and actually ship them to African countries? This is why it gets quite interesting. And for those of you who are very sensitive, you might get it may trigger you the wrong way. So Benjamin will go to an American farmer called Judas Iscariot. And the sole purpose of going to Judas Iscariot is because Judas Iscariot has goods in surplus. But Benjamin will have to go through a competitive process to get those goods. Do you understand what I'm saying? Benjamin is an example I'm giving you. The goods they usually get, they get them at a competitive rate. They have to get them through that process. So it's competitive. So Benjamin will tell Judas Iscariot, I need goods, and these goods are going to be shipped all the way to Africa to help the poor people in need, the people who are suffering, hunger-stricken, malnutrition. Those are the people we're going to feed. Then Judas will be like, okay, this is my price. And then Benjamin will buy those goods and ship them all the way to Africa. But what really puzzles me is the way people speak of Africa as though Africa was a country, like one big gigantic country. Heck no! And I'll keep saying this in my every video. Africa is a whole big continent with 54 countries in it, each very independent. So many are developed, so many are still underdeveloped. they're still developing anyway, especially those in the sub-Saharan Africa. They're still developing, but some other countries are developed. So please, 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 for goodness sake, stop referring to Africa like it's a country. Anyway, that's besides the point. So that's what usually happens. They actually buy the goods from the American farmer and sell them to African countries or ship them for free to the African markets. I'll get into the damage of what it does to the local farmer. So the devil lies in the details, guys. The devil lies in the details. And here's why. So the danger of food aid is that it destroys the market for the local farmer, because you can't honestly compete with the good, amazing quality products all the way from America. They can't compete on your local market with your produce. If you go to the supermarket or you go elsewhere, they say, oh, this is from American Garden, or this is from there, and then yours is from where? From this district over here. Most people tend to buy American goods. So the farmer is left displaced, heartbroken, disappointed. His dreams are shattered, and he runs out of business. Like, what use is the farmer producing more crops, producing more food, if the whole market is filled with these external products? It's filled with imports. It won't work, so they just run out of business. So foreign aid destroys the local market for the farmers, for we indigenous people who have made our goods. They are just honestly displaced. So the question you should ask are, what type of products do these food aid programs and organizations like Benjamin's provide? Well, anything that will help you with your hunger, they'll provide. They normally provide wheat flour, rice, peas, beans, vegetable oil, you name it. They provide all of that. The daily basics you need to have a good meal, they provide all of that. The same thing that your local farmer in your country will be able to provide, they provide the same thing. Now, food aid also displaces exports from other countries. Imagine you are an exporter within Africa and you're exporting your rice all the way to South Sudan. And when they reach there, they also find, guess what? Goods that Benjamin has brought to the refugees, to the people in need. Their goods are also there. Who do you think they're going to buy from, or who do you think they're going to consider? They're obviously going to consider the goods from America. They're not going to consider your goods from Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, whatever. Your goods will just take a back seat. And what does that do? It kills trade. It kills Africa's income, because you already have free food that has fallen in all the way from America. Yours is even more expensive. So you're thrown out of business and you have no competitive edge. And what does that do to the local government? Well, it reduces also tax collection. You're not getting any foreign exchange. People are not making money. People seem to be like they're docile, but they're not docile. Or maybe it seems like they don't know how to do business. That's not the case. They know what to do, but they're just disadvantaged in that case, and that has got to change. I'll give the recommendations later on in my video. And let me give you a very clear example of how food aid completely shatters local production. Now, in the year 2002-2003, Malawi had a food deficit of about 600,000 metric tons. Now, how did these food aid organizations react? They overreacted, totally overreacted. They flooded Malawi with a lot of surplus goods, a lot of surplus commodities that the local farmers had nowhere to compete. Everything was in excess. The prices dropped, farmers were thrown out of business, and the whole economy was just left in shutters. All because the food aid organizations overreacted and just bombarded, dumped all these excess products in Malawi, and the economy was just going down and down. Things just became worse. That is how dangerous food aid can be. And also, get this, food aid is used to create new markets, especially in Africa. According to the US legislation of Title I, food aid program states that for all goods to be shipped to developing countries, people in need, people who say we need help, we are hunger stricken, the priority will be given to America's commodity products products from America will be given priority. So you, even if you have the commodities and you're from Brazil, you're from South Africa, your goods will not be given priority. American goods will be given priority. They're exported all the way to Africa and all these other countries that may suffer from poverty, maybe let it be Syria or I don't know, some other country out there in the world. American products will have priority. The rest of you, to the back of the line. And remember, they are supplying surplus goods on their market. Now, how can you compete with that? Do you see the danger of food aid? And behold, the big cancer, the biggest of them all, the biggest, guys, the food aid given in surplus will never serve the intended purpose. And even if it's not in surplus. So this is what happened. So America will give goods, these commodities, to these African countries or whatever country out there in the world to help them with their issue of hunger. But you know what happens? I'm pretty sure you know what happens. They tend to sell these goods on the local markets at a very cheap price. And when they sell these goods, all they want is cash. The cash is then used for development projects. Most times you already know, you guessed it right. It's pocketed by corrupt political officials. They just take that money, but it really destabilizes the economy, especially if it's a free economy where demand and supply exists. So if the goods are sold cheaply on the market, what does that mean for the rest of the goods? It means the price will dramatically drop. So you, the local farmer who has produced your goods expecting to sell them at 4,000, will be left disadvantaged, because if the goods they're selling on the market are 2,000, you expect to sell yours at 4,000, you can't match. People won't buy your goods because they're so expensive and these other goods are cheap. So you're forced to drop down the price and incur your losses, swallow that hard pill and say, okay, this season I'm out of business. And then it happens again, and you reach a point and say, I cannot do this anymore. I can't hurt my pride like this. I just can't continue. And you're thrown out of business just like that. Those are the silent dangers of food aid that you probably did not know about, but you need to know. You definitely need to know how food aid can be very dangerous to a country's economy, especially those in African countries. Now, according to a paper done by Oxfam, they say the purpose of food aid should be able to help those in need because they're hunger-stricken and they have malnutrition and they're suffering from abstract poverty. That should be the main aim of food aid. However, USA has always been the culprit. Not my words, Oxfam said. They tend to use food aid as an excuse to dump surplus agriculture products to developing countries. They're looking for new markets. That is why they use food aid. Most of it is because they have ulterior motives. And I'll say this again, not my words, Oxfam. And I'll put the link in the description so you guys can read the entire paper of what Oxfam found out in regards to food aid, especially from the United States. So you can imagine, Benjamin, like I said earlier, Benjamin, I really believe you mean well, but it's time to be corrected because all the evidence is against you right now. I wonder if you really mean good or you're just a wolf in a sheep's clothing. I do not know, because if you think about it, if someone is always asking you for something and you always give it, if your child is always asking for something and you always give it, what does that create? It creates a dependency culture. Now, I still stand to be corrected. Unless you want to create a dependency culture, why then will you always give African countries food aid? I mean, why? Just why? African countries are more than capable to solve their own issues. I'll tell you for a fact, African countries have, history has it, there have been scenarios where African governments have bought goods from local farmers and given food to those in need in their countries. When the local farmers didn't have the food, they then imported goods from other African countries, those African farmers, and gave food to those in need. Those scenarios have been there, and Africa will continue to be able to help Africans. But if they know they have a babysitter, will always come to their call, then things might never really work out. All I'm saying that African governments and also the food aid program should be able to buy goods from African farmers in those countries or other African countries and help those people in need. That way you're not just creating you're not just dumping excess products in African countries, but actually helping the economies when you buy food from them, because that money is then used as foreign exchange and it helps to develop a country. So food aid has its pros and its cons, but I still maintain the cons tend to outweigh the pros. So I still stand to be corrected. You can let me know in the comments section. Benjamin, back to you. Why is it that African faces are always at the core of your marketing strategy? We're always at your core. Every country in the world has the same issues. There are places where there's famine, there's malnutrition, but why the focus on Africa? Oh, by 2 cents you can serve a starving child in Africa. Oh, by this much you can... Why? You tend to create the picture that Africa is really dying and we're starving and we really need your help. Also help us, Lord. And Africa is a whole continent with 54 countries. Why do you make it seem like it's a country? I mean, come on, guys. Come on. This has got to stop. This has definitely got to stop. And guys, I'll end this by saying, Africa, the sleeping giant, you need to awake and see your potential. You need to see yourself for who you truly are, because Africans will be the ones to solve Africa's problems. And guys, if you found this video very interesting, do me a huge favor. Please subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded. And I'll see you next time. Bye. May the King of Peace be upon you.